We are looking forward to seeing Miles Turner on the floor for his third NBA season. I'm thrilled now to be joined by Quinn Buckner.
How are you, sir?
Partner on Fox Sports Indiana telecast. Quinn, it's an exciting time. It's always full of optimism at the start of each season. But what have you seen from this team in training camp?
Well, what I like about the team is the energy, because you got a lot of youth here, and I think that's something that the organization needed in terms of a little injection. The enthusiasm has been there throughout practice. Miles has tried to take a little bit more of a leadership position, which I think is interesting for a third-year player, but he's the longest tenured player here on the team. Thaddeus Young has come back. I think he's really solid. And you can look at Victor Oladipo and how he adds to the team. So there are a lot of combinations that you can look and see. But you can't forget about Lance, because I think Lance is one of the more talented guys, clearly on the team, in my opinion, but in the league. And I've seen him come back with a renewed vision and a way about him where I think his teammates really enjoy watching him play as much as being on the court and playing with him.
Lance said a couple weeks ago that he thinks this team could be among the most in shape of any teams in the NBA. That's saying a lot. What does it take to become one of those teams, and does this team have it?
I think in shape is really important. I don't think we should minimize this, because there are a couple things that are really different. First of all, there are not as many timeouts, and that will make a difference. I'm sorry to make a difference. But as we talk about the way the game has changed and the league has changed, the game is a faster paced game. So you have to be in better shape. So you've got more athletes here, so there may be some depth used in terms of all the personnel. But if you're not in shape in the third and fourth quarter, late fourth quarter, that's when you really get a chance to capture games, and that's what Lance is talking about, one of the most in-shape teams in the league.
If we look specifically at the starting five with Darren Collison, Victor Oladipo, Bojan Bogdanovic, Thaddeus Young, and Miles Turner, that group as a whole, what do you like about them, and what do they need to maybe make sure they're working on to have success?
First of all, the chemistry has to come. That's not something that Nick McMillan can put on the floor and it's just there. So as you know that, you've been around sports and played sports all your life. I think that's the first thing. I think the other thing that's really critical, you really have to rebound the ball. But before you do that, defending that is going to be important. And I think the way this team wants to play, it's about keeping people in front of you. And if you're allowed to do that and then rebound the ball, now we can talk about being in great shape, getting out and running, getting the three-point shots, because that's the other aspect of this team. This team will shoot more threes than it has historically. And I think that's a good thing. I think the challenge is to figure out where the point of optimization is, if you will, because some people shoot them because they get them. Well, if you're Golden State, you have that option. Everybody doesn't have that option, and figuring out where that goes, I think, is important for this team.
If you're going to get out and run, you have to have a good bench. And at least prior to Glenn Robinson III's injury, I thought this second unit may be one of the best starting the season second units that I've seen with the Pacers in some time. Now you'll change things up a little bit with Glenn injured, but when you look at the second five, what do you like and what do they need to work on?
Well, the second five is really dependent on Lance Stevenson. Lance has the ability, probably as much as anybody, and maybe more so than most in the league and on the team. He's a playmaker. And his ability to find people, I think, is really important. That's what I like about that unit. I watched them play all summer, as did you. They like playing with each other, and that's the camaraderie we've been talking about. That's really important. So I think they'll be an energized team. I think they realize, this entire team, with no stars, you tend to pass the ball a lot more often and more effectively, and we've seen that. And that second unit probably passes the ball, gets up and down the court, supports each other as good as the first unit.
Quinn, you ready for all 82 this season?
Yes, sir.
Fox Sports Indiana broadcasting every Pacers game.